Hey guys, so I thought I'd take some footage of me before I fix the bike. Basically, I have had an error code on my R1. Started off with a ride and had a bit of one wheel fun, private racetrack and all that other fun stuff. Turned the bike off, waiting for friends on the side of the track, of course, and needed to turn the bike back on, turn the bike on, got an engine code 12, Googled it, found out it was a crank engine sensor problem or possibly a rear wheel sensor or a front wheel sensor problem. There was a few other things that it could have been. It wasn't really very clear. I clutch started the bike, was able to ride it home, and after doing a bit of research, it looks like it is not the rear wheel sensors. So I was able to bring up the so let's do this again. I'm going to put you down for a second. So you've got to hold, to go into the Yamaha diagnostics to check the front wheel sensors and stuff, you've got to turn the bike on while holding the mode and up button. So I'm going to quickly do that now while I can. So actually I might try this instead. So you're going to just have to bear with me and accept the fact that I'm doing this because I don't have enough free hands. So I'm pressing and holding mode and up at the same time, and now I'm turning the bike on. Pressing and holding, and then the diagnostics mode comes up, like so. Whoops, let's zoom in, like so. Now I'm going to press and hold the mode and up button again for a further 8 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we do it one more time, and you can see there now we are currently in the diagnostics and data mode. So you can see it says diagnostic, we're in number 1. It says data 16. Now all these different, as I use the up arrow here and scrolling through all the different menus, so 2 is a different set of data, 3, 4, etc. Now, I think number 5 is air temperature for the intake air temperature. But basically each one of these numbers will refer back to a specific setting. You can Google the full list of diagnostics. Basically, I think it's number 16 I'm looking for. As you can see here, it's currently 0. Now, to check the front wheel sensors, and this is where I've been going with this whole situation, to check the front and rear wheel sensors, I can go to this diagnostics, spin the rear wheel. Nothing from the rear wheel, let's try the front wheel. There you go, you can see there that's now spinning. So that, as I'm spinning the front wheel, is detecting all of these little pins up here on the ABS sensor. You can see that's now testing the front wheel sensor. So the error message I was getting was a number 12 on the side of the highway saying that it was a rear wheel sensor, or could have been crank angle sensor. It's also could have been, I was also getting eventually at one point in time I was getting 11 and 12. I'll even insert if I can, I'll insert a clip at some point in time throughout this video showing that particular error message happening. But after doing this in the diagnostics, I was able to successfully eliminate the wheel speed sensors as a problem. So this is basically what the error sounds like. So you can hear the fuel pump. You can see that's the starter solenoid there. And if I press this, you can hear that. That's the noise there. I've tested all the voltages here. The battery's getting good volts. I put jumper packs on here to make sure that it wasn't the battery problem, or it wasn't a cold cranky amps or anything like that. I've also tried to jumper these sections here. So to check your starter solenoid and sort of like, I guess, work around it. Again, I'm just putting my phone down for a second here while I get another piece here. But to test whether the starter solenoid was a problem and eliminate that, you just get a piece of wire, like so, and just join these two just here. And you can see if I try and join these two, whoops, you can probably see they're currently touching and nothing is happening. So basically what that means is that there is something wrong with one of these wires here. this directly connects up with the starter motor. So after running the wires down and checking the starter motor, one of the wires is either loose, or I was just basically pure luck here situation, pulling on one of these wires. I can't remember if it's the positive or the negative, and all of a sudden the bike started turning over. So one of those wires is loose or not making a proper connection. So I'm about to dive in, pull it all apart and check it all out. But ideally, if you guys are having starting problems and your bike's not starting, that's some very quick and easy ways of checking it out. Is basically checking the front wheel sensors if you're getting an 11 or a 12 error by going into the Yamaha diagnostics. And then also, if it's still not starting after that, using the jumper cable to join the solenoid here. If that's still not turning over and still not working, then going down and checking all your wiring and running back these wires to where they actually plug in. So yeah, anyway, I'll catch back up with you in probably another part of this video. Bit of bonus footage for everyone. Decided I'd sort of document how to pull it all off. So once you've got your tank off, there's this is on a 2016 R6, by the way. Sorry, R6 R1, lol. Basically, you've got these four cables. There's these like two, I think they're breather cables or overflow cables or hoses, whatever figure. You've got a connector for the fuel pump, and you've got the actual fuel line itself, which goes in just there. Once you've disconnected all that, taken all your bolts, there's one at the front and then the two either side of the tank and then one at the back. That'll basically get your tank off. Then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bolts around, 10 Phillips head screws around the side of the airbox. That'll then take the airbox off. From here, you've then got some let's see, put the flashlight on here. You've then got some Allen heads beside the velocity stacks. There's one in the center there between 3 and 4. Whoops. You can just see that just there. So you got one just here in between the two velocity stacks. You got one on the left here, one on the right here, one on the left here, one on the right there, and then one more in the center. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in total. And then you've also got your bolt up the front here already as well, and then that should make it all nice and loose, and you should be able to take that all off and get down a little bit further, and I'll check back in with you later on. Alrighty, so where are we at now? We've got most of the stuff off closer to the starter. So where are we sitting? So basically we've got the throttle bodies, or the lower butterflies, whatever you want to call them, mostly off. There's one plug that I just can't get my hands. I'm just physically too sore to push that little clip in that particular location. So I'm going to give it a bit of a rest for a little bit. But yeah, the butterflies are off. We've got, that's the top of the head there. And you can probably see just in here, I'm just trying to focus in. I'll even turn the light on again if I can. Here we go. So you can see just here, this is the starter motor cable, just there, that little black one. Once I get that fixed, I've seen, this is basically whenever I move this cable left and right, that fixes the problem. So I'd say wherever this plugs in just here is my little problem. So yeah, so that's something else you guys can check out on. I don't know how it actually mounts on there, but no doubt I'll be showing you in the next clip. So yeah, that's if all goes well, at least. Anyway, I thought I'd show you what we've got so far. As far as taking the throttle bodies off, extensions are your friend. Make friends with extensions. That is what I've put together. So I've got a 90-degree there and a Allen head 4mm, and basically you just feed that through the side of the engine case here. Whoops. Feed that through the side of the engine case here, and you can sort of see there's like, that's where the Allen key is, just there. Excuse my bum. That's where the Allen key is, just there, and basically you can feed it through and get that one, and then you've got another one behind it, and then you do the same on the other side. So the other side you need to strip almost everything apart because the most of the plastics are in your way. So basically you need to take off this plastic rear cover and yeah, go the Allen key with extensions all the way through. Anyway, if you're doing this job, good luck, but I'll keep on keeping on. Now, if my starter motor is perfectly okay and it looks like just be some connections or a bit of corrosion on the bolt, Just here you can see it's just a little bit corroded, so intermittently not starting, and if I jiggle the cable or I give it a wiggle up and down, it starts. I thought it might have been a loose bolt here, but the bolt is was definitely not finger tight. It was definitely very whatever the torque settings are was probably very close to all that setting. But I'm going to lightly sand all the bolts and all the connections and stuff, and start putting it back together again. Maybe there was a water pump leak or something like that to start the corrosion. But yeah, everything in here is going to get I'm going to try and get you a good view. Everything in here is going to get a good check over and a good once over. So just really hard to get a good vision here, guys. But yeah, it's try and get another one in here. No, you can't quite see it from the top there. So yeah, this is really the only, oh, actually you might be able to just here. There you go, you can sort of see that's the nut just there. So I've got a bit of corrosion. Well, hello there, we're back. Basically, this is day 2. Had to call it a day yesterday, just didn't have the timeline left. I have pulled the starter motor cable off, which is this one just here. Basically, that's the starter motor. I'm going to try and zoom in so you guys can see it. That's the starter motor just there. There's 2 bolts holding in to take that out, so you can remove those, and then from what I can tell reading online, this all just slides out this way. So you undo these 2 bolts here, this one here and this one here, and the whole starter motor comes straight out like a newborn baby, I guess. But look, that's a fun job to remove. There's the water or thermostat housing that's in the way here on the side of the bike. I tried my absolute darndest to get it off without taking the thermostat apart. I also double checked before that there is actually just a little rubber gasket there. It's not replaceable. It's not something you need to replace. It's not a serviceable item. I'm going to clean that one up anyway, and probably put a little bit of not silicone, inox grease around there just to make sure it's all nice and stays nice and lubed and doesn't dry out for whatever reason. But I think if I had my day in court again to get this off, you can see there's actually a little groove here on the side of the engine that marries up with the side here of the just here. So all you need to do is you need to slide this to this way, and then it sort of cups off, and then you should be able to slide that whole assembly out. So I'm hoping to reassemble this part here off the bike, or like it is right now, and then slide the whole thing back in and push it back into there, which is where it goes back into the block of the engine. Yeah, look, if you're doing this job, I would rate it probably out of 10 on scale of hard to do. There's like a 7 or an 8 if you know what you're doing. I feel like if you've done anything like in the engine box, or the if you've done anything as low as the butterflies, I feel like you're in your depth. I reckon you'll be able to do it. It's just a very time-consuming job, and I reckon for most people you're probably going to need a solid 5-6 hours to knock it out, to pull it all apart, put it back together again, test it, and go from there. Luckily enough, my starter motor is perfectly okay, and it looks like just be some connections or a bit of corrosion on the bolt. Just here you can see it's just a little bit corroded, so intermittently not starting, and if I jiggle the cable or I give it a wiggle up and down, it starts. I thought it might have been a loose bolt here, but the bolt is was definitely not finger tight. It was definitely very whatever the torque settings are was probably very close to all that setting. But I'm going to lightly sand all the bolts and all the connections and stuff, and start putting it back together again. Maybe there was a water pump leak or something like that to start the corrosion. But yeah, everything in here is going to get I'm going to try and get you a good view. Everything in here is going to get a good check over and a good once over. So just really hard to get a good vision here, guys. But yeah, it's try and get another one in here. No, you can't quite see it from the top there. So yeah, this is really the only, oh, actually you might be able to just here. There you go, you can sort of see that's the nut just there. So I've got a bit of corrosion on there, so I don't think I'm going to take it out, the starter motor, but I certainly think it'll be worth my while to give it a light sand with some sandpaper and get some of the corrosion off there. So anyway, hopefully you guys don't have to do this, and if you are watching this because you want to do the job or whatever reason, don't. maybe go pay a shop, because it's a bit of a job. Anyway,